And welcome back to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Wednesday, July 9th. We're going to call ourselves back into order here at 12:36. And just because we are online, I'll just provide a little bit of background. We opened the meeting this morning. We called it to order at 9, just after 9:02 a.m. And immediately we went through a number of items on the agenda. We did our national anthem, our land acknowledgement. We adopted the agenda, which included jumping to item 14 on the agenda, which was the closed session. And we went into closed session just after 9 and have just finished a recess from closed and are now coming and reporting out as a result of that closed session. And one thing, just before I rise and report, or one of the things I'd like to rise and report on, is that as part of that closed session, I had failed to do the disclosure of interest before we went into closed. I did that immediately as we started closed, and there was no disclosures from any member of council on the topics that were going to be discussed. So with that, I'll recognize the Council of the Township Whitewater Region. We rise and report from our closed session that we, 1, received information related to the computer system outage and the Department of Public Works, and 2, we received information relating to job evaluation, pay equity, and market comparator, and gave direction to the CAO. Excellent. And with that, I'm going to move on to the next item. We are going to start again here at item number 4, which is the adoption of minutes from June 4th and June 24th. The recommendation is the Council of Township Whitewater Region approve the June 4th, 2025 and June 24th, 2025 regular session minutes. A mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Trim. Is there any errors or omissions that anyone has noted in either one of those minutes? And I'll just highlight now that there were closed sessions associated with both of those dates. Those closed session minutes are not available at this time. They will be a part of the August 6th council meeting. Okay, with that, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Included in here is also one committee or board's set of minutes from Muskrat Watershed. They're April 17th and June 19th minutes. Our council lead for Muskrat Watershed.
Nothing to add.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I'll redo the disclosure of interest. Is there any disclosures for any other items on this agenda today? I see none. And number 6 is presentations. There are no presentations today, which leads me into the Mayor's address. Which I have on my email. I'm on, so it's good. Thank you. Since our last council meeting on June 24th, I attended 6 meetings and events on behalf of council. I also attended a county council meeting June 25th and an RCDHU committee meeting on July 8th. I had taken some time to travel with my family over the past week and just wanted to make sure I acknowledged and thanked the Deputy Mayor for covering for me throughout that period. Some highlights for council and our community. First one is Wilderness Tours celebrated their 50th anniversary on June 26th. So congratulations to Joe and his family, his whole team on this incredible achievement. It's great to see industry in our community going and celebrating a 50th anniversary. And a happy belated Canada Day. Unfortunately, I couldn't celebrate with anyone here. I was away, but I know there were great celebrations throughout the region. And leading up to it, a huge thank you to all the volunteers for the work that they do to coordinate the community building events. And I'll just name a couple. I know the WDRA was hosting activities, the Foresters Falls Athletic Association, and Cobden Recreation. I just wanted to thank these organizations. Our county council meeting had a number of items that I wanted to highlight for council, and the full summary is available in the correspondence item in the agenda package. But I wanted to highlight, I think there's 4 here at this time. First off, we had 2 members present Jana Armstrong and Jennifer Dolman both made a presentation on behalf of the Renfrew County Agricultural Economic Development Committee. This committee provides guidance and feedback on the state of agricultural sector with Renfrew County and recommends and assists with possible initiatives in support of the agricultural, economic, and business development. One of the questions that I asked as a result of this presentation was how our municipalities, including the county, could better support the development of our ag industries. The example I used was Northwest Performance, who is just starting up here in Whitewater region, especially with their soybean roasting initiative. There are a number of federal and provincial grants that support this kind of agricultural development, but how can we support organizations to access these complex grants and support investment in agriculture? I asked if there was a way they could do something at county or through another public organization that could support their applications, and hopefully we'll have an answer back from the committee with recommendations. Next, we had a presentation from the Ministry of Transportation, the Eastern Ontario rep, and he provided an update on a lot of the projects that will be happening within the County of Renfrew, with one here in Whitewater region, including the twinning of Highway 17. So the presentation is in the correspondence portion of the agenda, and I'm going to go through that, and I may lean on the Manager of Public Works a little bit when we get to that presentation. Good. The next one is the good news, and if you haven't read the paper yet, the County of Renfrew has approved moving forward with 2 new paramedic bases. One is to replace the existing one at the Pembroke Hospital, and it's going to be replaced with a new Pembroke paramedic base at 330 Boundary Road. But County Council also approved the construction of a new paramedic base in the Township of Whitewater region. This project will be led by Porter General Contracting, working with J.L. Richards and Egris Group, and the total cost is approximately $3.25 million, plus or minus some taxes. And as you might have already read in the Eganville Leader, this is incredible news not only for Whitewater region but for the whole greater area. It's going to be located at the intersection of Mindview and Foresters Falls Roads, and this new base will help to enhance residents' access not only to ambulance services but to all the other services offered by our paramedics, including RCV-TAC on-site services. So I just want to thank the County Council and the staff for all their work and support in this expansion. It's an incredible difference maker in the lives of all of our residents. There'll be lots more information coming out about this project. I believe they have a system, I can't remember the name of it, but the system online where they manage these kinds of projects. And we'll share that when it's available. Last point is just the 2025 Summer Company Program is launched, and there is a youth from Whitewater region that has been selected for the program, Jasmine Clark. So congratulations to Jasmine, and looking forward to learning more about her project for the summer. So this being our last council meeting until August, I also just wanted to wish everyone a great summer break. We'll see you again on August 6th, followed by the AMO conference in the 3rd week of August. And that ends my report. Is there any questions or comments from members of council on anything I brought up? Yeah, Councillor Moore.
When do they anticipate the first date of the new ambulance bay? Do we have a date on that? Do we have a date on the new ambulance bay start?
I was unsure what I could share, but I believe I read in the paper they're going to have the foundation in this fall.
Where do you find these papers? Oh, the Eganville Leader. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, any other questions or comments from members of council? Good. We'll keep moving on then. Thank you. Public comments. Clerk, any public comments registered or virtual?
I received none.
Excellent. And then we jump into reports. The first one is 9.1, our Cobden area canteen. Recommendation is that the Council of the Township Whitewater Region approve entering into a contract for canteen services for the Cobden Astrolab Arena with Hungry Fan Canteen for the 2025-2026 and 2026-27 ice seasons. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Bell, and Councillor Tabbert, and over to our Manager of Community Service.
Thank you, Mayor. So we ran an RFP process for the Cobden Canteen at the arena, and there were three respondents who gave us opportunities to look at their offers. And it was very exciting. Staff enjoyed going through the process, and it was nice to see that we were able to get three, and we're very thankful for that. The RFP process was advertised locally through print media at the newspapers, and then online as well as our website. We did have 13 requests for the documents to be reviewed, and 5 questions were received. An addendum was issued. When it closed, there were 3 that came back for consideration. The proposals were reviewed and scored by myself, the Community Services Superintendent Griffiths, and the Treasurer McGonigal. So we based them all on the evaluation criteria you can see in the report, and based on the scoring, the successful bidder was the Hungry Fan Canteen. So the Hungry Fan Canteen is founded by 3 local families, 6 community members actively involved with Muskrat minor hockey. They're committed to leveraging their skills and experience to create a successful community-focused canteen for operation in the Astrolabe Arena. They would like to transform the experience at the arena, offering exceptional service and a diverse menu that caters to all tastes. There were certain criteria that were written into the RFP, and you'll see the tasks listed in there. Those will also be listed in the contracted agreement that we have them sign. And then once the approval has been given, the staff we will issue a letter of award to the successful bidder. So if anybody has any questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Great news. Any questions? I'll go to Councillor Bell first.
Yeah, just on the state of the actual canteen at the rink, is there any work that needs to be done before they take over this lease, or is there any equipment? Are they bringing their own equipment, or is it the equipment that's currently there, or do we have to put new equipment in there?
It's the equipment that's currently there. We had to replace a freezer, and for the most part, it's been cleaned up. Everything that's there they have access to, they can use. They've been told that they can't use like a deep fryer, grease, anything like that. But yes, they would have, they listed some equipment in their process that they want to bring in, and we've given them access to that. So it should be running.
Councillor Tabbert, seconder. Any other questions for members of council? Yes, Councillor Bell.
Having no canteen there for the last few years, so this was for a 2-year award, that's correct. So what happens if for some reason that things don't go as planned? What is the commitment if for whatever reason they can't fulfill the needs of what the lease agreement is?
So there's a clause in the agreement that they have to give us notice. So they'd provide notice, and they would get out of their agreement. Yep.
Perfect. And Councillor Trim?
A small item, perhaps, but is there going to be any way of sort of tracking the energy consumption so that hydro and whatnot, so we know what we're actually making and whether the rent we're charging is suitable?
Unfortunately not. We could compare hydro bills year over year to see if there's a substantial increase, but no, there's no separate hydro service for the canteen.
Nothing else? No, I think this is an excellent initiative. I appreciate the staff putting the time into the RFP. The arena hasn't had canteen services for a number of years, and I'm excited, as I imagine many of the families are, to see something like this come in. So thank you.
And the staff.
And the staff, that's right. Spend lots of money there. Good. With that, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Next item is 9.2, which is a capital budget reallocation for recreation. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township Whitewater Region reallocate $25,000 from the 2025 recreation capital budget originally designated for flooring in the Cobden Astrolabe Arena to cover stairwell asbestos abatement and restoration. A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Bell and Councillor Tabbert. Good. Back to Manager Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor. So the capital budget in 2025 allocated $25,000 to replace the flooring in the Cobden Arena. It had noted upstairs or downstairs. Based on the quotes that we've received, that number is not sufficient to cover either floor. And we would rather not put pieces in. It would rather be a complete project when it's done. So we're putting this forward as a recommendation to reallocate the funds for the flooring. The designated substance reports that came back noted asbestos in the ceiling stairwell, specifically the drywall joint compound, and that area was slated for repair this season based on a hole that's in the ceiling. So we were going to repair it regardless. Now with the asbestos notice, we are taking all precautions, and we have received an original quote. Based on that quote, we would have to RFP this process as well. But it'll be close to that same dollar value, and we would like to get this started immediately so that it can be put out and returned, and possibly having the work done in early September, based on contractor availability. So the use and rental of the space in the Cobden Arena would likely be unaffected. We have a secondary staircase that can be used during the time that we're making the repairs. And the no new funds are being requested at this point for the 2025 capital budget to be able to complete this work, just by reallocating the funds. If anybody has any questions.
Good. Thank you. Councillor Bell is the mover. None. Councillor Tabbert? None. Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Mort.
Under asset management, is this something that we should be looking at for the rest of the building? Because if there's asbestos found to be there, it could be other areas, including the second stairwell. So where should we proceed for that under asset management?
You go ahead.
So I can take one part of this. So we did a designated substance review. You'll remember that was part of last year's budget. So it identified all areas that had asbestos or without destroying any property when they did the testing. So there's still unknowns, but they created a value for our asset retirement obligation, as well as what buildings have what materials in them. It was the compound that was identified in the Cobden Arena, that the drywall compound that potentially has asbestos in it. So that'll be part of the financial statements is one piece, but then going forward, we have to review and update that every year. So that'll become a new line that'll be added to the 2026 budget of mitigating these projects. So if we're looking at certain projects need to be done, the assessment review, I believe, has to be done every year or every other year to update that study. So there'll be a cost for that. And then the other one is the actual maintaining of the study itself with new testing, new areas, those type of things. So we will see a cost come in, but on the asset management side, that becomes the termination cost or end life cost of the actual project itself. So should we demolish or change anything, any major construction, that's whenever we actually have to address these asbestos. So that's why Manager Plummet is bringing it up now. We have to maintain or repair that stairwell, so hence why we have to deal with the asbestos management at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Excellent. Thank you for the flexibility to be able to flip projects and make sure that the money is spent and we're still investing in our assets. So appreciate that. With that, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Next item is 9.3, the Blue Box Transition Agreement. And I'm not even going to try to put all those abbreviations out. I'm sure we're going to get told what they are. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township Whitewater Region Authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with Miller Waste Services for the curbside collection of non-eligible source blue box material between July 1st and December 31st, 2025 at a total cost of $3,544.30, inclusive of non-refundable HST, excluding associated tipping fees. And 2, authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with Circular Materials Ontario to compensate the township for the provision of Blue Box promotion and education services during the transition period, July 1st to December 31st, 2025, at a total cost of $836, excluding HST. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor Trim. Manager, Public Works.
Thank you. This is a two-part report that the environmental superintendent prepared. As we recall in previous Blue Box reports, in Ontario, the Blue Box program has transitioned from a shared model to a industry-funded model. So no longer the municipality is looking after the Blue Box program. The township transition period began on July 1st, and which ends into December 31st. And this is when, in January 2026, is when the full producer model starts. One of the item in the program is that non-eligible sources will not be provided. So during the producer responsibility Blue Box model is that only the eligible sources are collected, i.e. from residents' homes, schools, and non-profit long-term care facilities. So for example, any small business or anyone that could fit inside of the actual curbside collection is not part of this program and will not be collected. During the transition period, they can be co-shared. So currently right now, Miller Waste is the collector that's being done by the producer responsibility, and they are collecting part of this one that they're allowed to collect all of the eligible sources and also the non-eligible sources in one vehicle. Subject to the pro being paid for the actual per stop collection and also the tipping fees. The township has 129 non-eligible stops currently, and the cost for co-collect for that would be approximately $3,500 plus $3,500 approximately for the actual tipping fees. Staff have identified that based on previous rates, the cost to the township would be approximately $7,200 for to have Miller's co-collect the non-eligible sources. So that's all your small businesses, some campgrounds. I think that's not actually tied to residential. And this contract would be until the end of the year. Originally, the program wouldn't, after in 2026 and beyond, would not allow the co-collection of non-eligible sources with eligible sources, which is a big impact to municipalities and to small businesses. There's been some recent motions that been provided. There's an open consultation period to amend the Resource Recovery and Circular Economy Act of 2016 to include co-collecting of small I&I, so small industrial and commercial. So if you can fit into the Blue Box program, same as before, that they would be allowed to co-collect. And the the Minister of the Environment, of Conservation and Parks have written to the pros to allow to speed up the process and to allow to the transition period and for 2026 beyond. So that's an ongoing thing, and the township will be putting in, along with our neighboring municipalities, will be responding to encourage that would carry on and proceed starting January 1. The second part of the report is Circular Interiors Ontario, which looks after this Blue Box program, provides funding for promotion and education. So when we advertise for any Blue Box recycling or calendars, for example, that we produce every year for garbage and recycling, that is an eligible promotion, and the township would be reimbursed. And that is estimated to be approximately $836, which would be provided to the township. Just to note, in the 2025 budget, the operating budget included some funds to undertake the non-eligible sources in the current budget year. Thank you.
Perfect. That was a lot of information. Thank you. Our mover was Councillor Moore. Any comments or questions?
A lot of information, but really the utmost important thing right now is that everything is going to continue to be picked up until further notice. So really there's not much room for discussion at this time until we get closer maybe to the end of the year, and things may change. But as far as we know now, things are a go. But the ones that may be particularly affected are small commercial businesses, but we haven't got to that point yet, so I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Trim? Yes. Seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to the presenter. Am I to understand then that the $6,000 some odd dollars is adequately covered in this budget? Like there was about 7,000 and 800 and some is going to be reversed, so a little over 6,000 we're okay?
Yeah, that's correct. The staff did include non-eligible sources to be included in the 2025 budget.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Just two. The extension, if it's granted through the change in the legislation or the act, it's still going to be at the cost of the each of those 129 non-eligible points here in the Whitewater region.
That's what appears to be for the amendment, yes.
And the costs I noted in the report are $4.50 per stop per month?
That's correct.
The decision as to how we gather that upon an extension, is that planned for later this fall?
Yeah, so there's two options that we would, staff are preparing if the co-collection under the current Blue Box program would not be allowed. Staff met with some neighboring municipalities to have a group session with all of our neighboring municipalities to inquiry about having a joint tender to collect non-eligible sources. If the province would change the act, then that wouldn't be needed. But we would have to look during our 2026 budget is to with the user fees we have to separate the curbs, like the residential and non-eligible sources user fees for waste management.
Good. And the last thing is just is there any value in sending a note, sending a letter to the MPP about the pending changes to the Act?
So the town of Empire already has discussions with the MPP and the MP, and we are going to continue doing it. And then the big thing is with the staff and neighboring municipalities will be submitting our comments during the consultation period.
Perfect. If there is if it's recommended that we do a resolution or I draft a letter, please advise us.
Thank you.
Good. Is there any other questions from members of council? None. And we will call for a vote. All those in favor? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item is 9.4, which is federal signage for the McDonald burial ground. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township Whitewater Region approve the one-year fee of $1,200 and direct staff to seek additional funding to offset costs. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Tabbert. Good. A second? Oh, Councillor Trim. And Clerk, this is your file.
So the Township of Whitewater Region maintains 5 inactive cemeteries. One of these cemeteries is the McDonald Burial Ground. It's located on Sutherland Road, just off of Highway 17. It's a small cemetery, about 100 by 66 feet, and it holds 4 graves, including 2 war veterans of the 1812 war. In 2013, Mr. Buckman, I'm not sure if that's how you say his last name, is that right? Okay. Who is the volunteer, he applied for a provincial plaque, a monument, and was approved for it. And also in 2014, the township designated the site as a heritage site. Since 2012, the caretaker has worked very hard with different organizations to get a sign installed to mark the site's location. But because of the Ministry of Transportation's rules for signage on Highway 17, all the efforts have so far been unsuccessful. We also applied in 2017 for a Heritage Trust plaque application, and it was denied. And we also applied a few times to the tourism oriented directional signage, which is the TODS program. Recently, we submitted another application under the TODS program in a new category, and we were approved. So we have permission through TODS to install a directional sign. So we'll install 2, one on both sides of Highway 17. And there's 2 options available. So there's the regular sign. I believe the attachments are in the agenda. There's the regular sign that's $400, but it has limited visual appearance. Or there's the major federal sign, which is $600 a year, so per sign, $1,200. But they are able to put a custom icon on it, and it will have texts. The major signs are preferred for better visibility and customization. And the total cost is $1,200 per year, but we require a 2-year commitment. The Cobden Legion has offered to cover the first year, and township staff is asking council to fund the second year while we continue to explore grant and partnership to help offset the cost. And if it's okay, I don't know if the manager of Public Works has anything else to add, but over to you if you have any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Clerk. Can you just pull up the 2 signs that you were talking about, or the one that you're recommending? Oh.
Yeah, I think I can. Where is this? I didn't have it outside. That's fine.
Oh, perfect. That's the one. Perfect. Excellent. I'll go to the mover first. Councillor Tabbert, any questions or comments?
I think this is great. I want to go look at the cemetery now, but I'm approving.
Perfect. And Councillor Trim? Good. Any other comments or questions from other members of council? The only caveat that I would put on it is I'm very supportive of it. I think the partnership with the Legion is outstanding and I think key going forward. But I'd like to see it done within the existing budget. So I just wanted to be clear that this is an approval of using funds that already have been budgeted for the year. Is that correct?
So as I understand it, the first year is covered by the Cobden Legion. So we will include in the 2026 budget, an item with respect to this, but again, it should be able to be included in the current operational budget. But recognizing that there's a lot of pressures on that budget for the members of council. Thanks.
Yes. And I'd like to encourage sorry, and I'll come back to Councillor Moore here, encourage that we continue to find partners, and I know that clerk had outlined that in the report. Good. Councillor Moore?
Just wondering what budget line this would come out of.
So whenever we go to do this part, there used to be an actual graveyard or cemetery expense. I believe it used to exist back when we just have never budgeted anything to it. So most likely it would be placed in under that line, or it would be put under something like roads where the signage expense is, and it would just, because it is a roads expense versus the signage, and that's potentially another area where we could put it. But I'll make a note of that whenever we come to the 2026 budget as to where it's been integrated in.
Okay, so that would be great if you could sort of go back a few years and see what was there, and maybe how much money was in it, and how it was handled at that time, and
Yeah,
place to work from at budget time.
Yeah, I'll go back a few years to see what was originally under that line item. Some line items I know were created but never anything posted to them, so that might be one of the same scenarios.
Okay.
When our original system was implemented, a series of accounts were just created as notional accounts to use, but maybe never had anything posted. I just know it does exist. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And one other thing, Mr. Mayor, whose umbrella will this fall under?
I'm not sure. Do we have a recommendation from staff?
So with the yearly fee, this sign is maintained by MTO. That's why you pay the fees, for them to maintain the sign. And then, can I just add one more thing? My hope is that we get funding every year to support the sign. I have a couple of pokers in the fire right now. I believe the Legion will be on board every year, and I have a couple more requests out. So I'm hoping that this will be entirely funded and we don't have to.
So I'm thinking Parks and Rec would be a great place to plunk that. It sounds better when you're doing, looking for grant money, et cetera, under Parks and Rec than roads. They certainly don't give any money for roads for that. So.
I hear you. I'll
Okay.
confirm after the. I'll confirm afterwards. Yeah. I never expected that to happen, but okay. Good. I'd also wondering if we can. I noticed that you've applied in the past to the Ontario Heritage Trust Fund. I'd like to, if you could prepare some language, and council would support me, I'll send a note to both the MPP and the MP to say this is a perfect example of where the federal and provincial government could be investing in local heritage, and that maybe that they could consider a grant. So if that could be added to the resolution, or is it necessary, or is it just a?
If you just want to provide direction.
Direction, yeah. Okay, so we're providing direction to that effect. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Good. Next item is the election vendor update. A recommendation is the Council of Township Whitewater Region receive this report for information purposes. Mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Bell. And back to the clerk.
Okay, so in October 16th, 2024, Council approved the internet and telephone voting and for the 2026 election and authorized the bylaw for permitting their use. In February 24, there is a group of 9 municipalities, us included, and we put out a joint request for proposal. The municipalities involved are McNabb, Braeside, Laurentian Valley, Petawawa, Pembroke, Greater Madawaska. Oh, I'm missing some. Oh, Arm Prior, Renfrew, and us. Do I got them? Okay. And that was to secure a vendor for internet and voting and tabulator services. We received 6 proposals. On April 22nd, we opened them. The top 3, the municipalities as a group scored them, and the top 3 were interviewed in May. And the group has selected votes to provide the services at a cost of $16,430. That includes our 5% joint contract discount. The clerk, as returning officer, has the authority to enter into contracts according to bylaw 1906-1182. And since and according to our procedure bylaw, since the cost falls between $15,000 and $25,000, we just require approval from the manager and the CAO. This aligns with the township's 2020 and 2030 strategic plan, which emphasizes fair and secure elections and is essential to the democratic integrity. So if you have any questions.
Thank you, Clerk, and I love the fact that we are working with 8 other municipalities that talk about becoming efficient and regional. Good. My movers, Deputy Mayor, any comments, questions? No. Councillor Bell? Good. Anyone else? No. Thank you so much, Clerk, for doing this. All those in favor? Unanimous again. Thank you. Good. 9.6, which is the Wren Subdivision Phase 3 and 4 Pre-Servicing Agreement. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve a bylaw authorizing the Mayor and Clerk to execute the pre-servicing agreement to allow for a portion of the works to be constructed prior to final approval for the draft plan approved Wren Subdivision Phase 3-4 Plan of Subdivision. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Trim and seconded by Councillor Moore. This is going to our planner, CAO, Economic Development Officer.
Thanks so much, yeah. So the present application is with respect to the next phases of Wren Subdivision. Wren Subdivision is located here in the village of Cobden. It's being developed by Bonashire Excavating Incorporate with the support of J.L. Richards, which is an engineering/planning firm out of the city of Ottawa. Just also highlighting plans of subdivisions are approved by the County of Renfrew, not locally. However, we input some draft conditions and conditions in the process, and we review and approve those some of those conditions. So we are essentially a commenting agency to plans of subdivision. Plans of subdivisions are approved, can be viewed as being approved through 2 phases. The first phase is what we call draft plan of subdivision or draft conditions of approval. And basically that draft approval is considered an approval in principle. Commonly it would include all phases of the development, and it would list numerous draft conditions that need to be fulfilled prior to moving to the second phase, which is basically your final approval. So in the case of Wren Subdivision, the draft plan of subdivision approval was first approved in February 1994 by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs before they downloaded the approvals to the county. It's been amended on numerous occasions, including an amendment in September 2022 for these 2 phases, phases 3 and 4. And that amendment in 2022 consisted merely of minor lot line adjustments, and you could see that on the first appendix. They're just minor lot line adjustments to be better suitable for single-family homes. So presently, phases 3 and 4, which they will be ultimately seeking approval together. They will not be doing phase 3 before 4. It'll be both at the same time, as I understand it. Will consist of 46 residential units, all consisting of single detached dwellings. So all the same form of residential development. So the second step in the approval of a plan of subdivision is essentially fulfilling the draft conditions. And the draft conditions include, but are not limited to, detailed engineering design of the water, wastewater, storm, grading, and the like. Subdivision agreement, so an agreement with respect to the development of the property, the servicing reports, financial securities, and other assessments. Now, we are getting close to fulfilling all of those draft conditions. There's only a few outstanding, and the engineering drawings are almost complete, all except for some minor outstanding stuff around utilities, so some final utility approval from hydro, some grading drainage comments, and some groundwater matters that are still outstanding. However, we are confident that together the township and BI, in providing comments and input and working through it, we'll be able to complete that review in the coming months. So in advance of moving to final approval, which would include a new full subdivision agreement, the township submitting all of our all of our sign-offs for all of our conditions to the county, and then the registration of the final plan of subdivision. I mean, there's still some logistic formalities that are required, but the proponent is seeking to get on site or continue on site to continue to put the services in the ground while they have crews available to support that installation. So they are seeking a pre-servicing agreement, and recognizing that we had anticipated bringing this report earlier to council, but here we are on July 9th, yeah. So the agreement, the pre-servicing agreement, that is, will allow the owner to proceed with some of the works. And again, all of these works are being done at their own risks, because we haven't finally approved the drawings, we haven't finally approved the subdivision, and nor has the county, so it is entirely at their risk. However, the detailed designs are so far along that we're confident that they will not substantially change. We retain full authority around any required changes, halting work, and any additional conditions. And the owner complies with all municipal, provincial, and federal regulations. So at this point, staff are recommending we move forward with the pre-servicing agreement. Next steps would be to have it executed by both parties, and then the owner would be required to submit insurance, a proof of insurance, and a security deposit. And then they would be required to fulfill the requirements of that agreement, including having a qualified engineer on site and the like. So staff are supportive of this, and we could anticipate that the final approval will come sometime through the fall into early winter in preparation of next spring. Thanks so much.
Thank you, CAO. Go to Councillor Trim as our mover first. And Councillor Moore, seconder.
I almost hate to ask this question, but plan of subdivision was approved at some point, so why does it have to be reapproved now? Because it's in addition to the previous plan?
So the first phase of approval, the approval in principle, approved the full build, like the design of all of the properties. The next phase, the second approval, which they do not have for phase 3 and phase 4, is the detailed design. What size of pipe's going to go in the ground. We don't have we have them now, the details, but when you get preliminary approval, you don't know what size of pipe's going in the ground, you don't know what length of pipe, where the service stops are going to be, you don't have all those details. So they're working, it's a two-phased approach is essentially the process. So phase 3 and 4 has not received the second phase of approval. Phase 2 occurred when I just started in 19. So phase 2, I think it was about 25 units. Was built out since 2019, around 2019. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Understand.
Good. Any other questions? I just have a couple. CEO, just in the report, it mentions Timber Mart as one of the parties, adjacent landowners. Is that correct? Page 2 of 5 report, second paragraph from the bottom up.
That is an error. My apologies.
Okay. Good. I was just curious. Maybe we had some more good news coming later.
No.
I was excited, but no. Okay, good. Excellent. The second one is just the additional traffic that this subdivision, and this was probably all considered in 1994 and 2022, and the previous steps were taken, but the traffic that these additional houses will involve, they all route out through to True Love. Is there any upgrades to that intersection that's planned as part of the subdivision?
As far as I'm concerned, the preliminary approval in 1994 did not consider any changes to the traffic or intersections, and there is no, we have not required or there are no proposed off-site works at that intersection as a result of full build out. So we haven't asked for a traffic impact assessment as part of the draft conditions, because they've kind of just flowed from 1994. They've been amended in the early 2000s, but in any case, no changes to that intersection.
Yeah, not at this time. Good. And I think everybody has been able to see the works that have been going on in anticipation of this. But there also, BEI, some work on Astrolab. Can you speak to that at all?
The works on Astrolab that are closer to beamline, is that
Yes.
what you're referring to? Yeah, so I think, as I understand it, I'm not entirely sure what is occurring, but it appears as though they're bringing fill to that property. I couldn't speak much more than that.
Perfect. Okay, good. Any other questions or comments from members of council? Yes, Councillor Tabbert.
I think I might have missed the first part. Are you saying is there only one entrance into this subdivision?
Yes.
And are we changing that?
No.
The roads loop, but there is only one entrance from True Love to the first intersection at Morrison. But that is how it was designed. Yes.
And how many homes are going in here?
I think there's I think there was, including phase 2, about 70 plus another 10, so probably about 90 units.
And is it safe to have just one entrance?
Well, I think the strategy, commonly the reason why you would have 2 access points to a subdivision is to allow for residents with their vehicles to exit the subdivision if a fire vehicle or emergency vehicle, takes over the road. In this case, the strategy would be to ensure that there's sufficient space on, I think it's Wren Drive, to allow for vehicles to exit the subdivision in case of emergency. Uncommon, I can't really, the design is the design, and it was designed in 1994, so some of the constraints we live today are different than what they were in 1994. So the strategy will be to ensure that in case of emergency, we don't take over the whole width of the road so people can get out if necessary.
So can I continue here? So there will be no further building here then after these 74 homes at all, none?
Well, correct, yes. So you'll notice on the drawing here, the configuration has cul-de-sacs at the end of every road. So there's no there's no design here to have a road continue beyond this subdivision, say to the north.
Sorry. That one right there, yeah.
Yeah, so this is full build out, and I mean there's no roads leaving the subdivision. Like where you see future phase 4, it's a cul-de-sac. There's not going to be a road that goes through there to the adjacent land. So there will be no further houses as part of this lot development. They have not designed it to connect to adjacent lands. The adjacent lands to the north, I believe, are outside of the village. And the lands to the west are the stormwater management pond and then the rail line. So they're kind of bound by that.
Okay, so this was designed in 1994. We're now in 2024. And can you tell me why we haven't asked for any more changes to this so that we are, I don't know, this makes me very nervous that we're gonna have that many homes, that many people in one area, plus our seniors residents and our nursing home with one entrance. Okay, just to know that it makes me very nervous.
It's noted, and we'll speak with the fire chief to see if there's any contingency plans they might put in place as a result of that. Thanks. Yep.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions? No, the only thing I would say is that this type of growth is exactly the growth that we've been wanting to occur, especially here in Cobden, to help us with our water, wastewater systems and in putting more users on the systems. That growth doesn't come without some impacts, and we may not, and they may not have uncovered every impact in 1994 or in 2022, and we have to continue to grow through those. But I would call them growing pains, because we are very supportive of this type of development and this development specifically in Cobden. So very supportive of BEI and this particular initiative, understanding that there may be some areas we just have to continue to tweak. Fair? Any other thoughts or comments? Okay, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Excellent. Notices of motion, item number 10. Just before we go around the horn to see if anybody has any, the clerk is going to talk about the two that are on pending.
So we still have Watchorn Drive and both from Councillor Moore, sorry, Watchorn Drive and the Beachburg Water Main Break. And I don't know if the Manager Cleroux has an update on the report.
I can, yes. Originally intended, Watchorn was supposed to be in last month at the last previous council meeting, which we would have in this council meeting. Just due with restraints, likely to be the next meeting.
Excellent, acknowledged. Yes, Councillor Tabbert.
Is there not supposed to be a motion coming forward regarding offensive sign language within our municipality?
Yes, there was a notice put forth by Councillor Olmsted, and the clerk followed up.
Yes, I did, and he's not ready to put forward it yet, so.
So the notice will remain as a notice. Good, and with that update on those two, and thank you, Councillor, or Manager of Public Works. Is there any other notices that any member of council wants to put on the floor at this time? Okay, I see none. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 11, which is correspondence. We have none that require direction, but we have a number of information items. And the clerk is going to have to prompt me because I don't have my notes as to who's supposed to speak to which one, but we'll make this up as we go. The first one is appointed a new dean of Algonquin College, and that's just an announcement. Angela Rintoul-Dean is now the new dean of Algonquin Pembroke campus, and I sent her a note of congratulations on behalf of council. The council summary, which I summarized a little bit in the mayor's address. I won't articulate, but if there is any questions, we'll come back to any member of council for anything that's in there. The Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus newsletter is for your information. Item D is the postcards, and I remember I'm supposed to speak to this one. At County Council, we had Ann Pohl, a spokesperson for the Council of Canadians, Kitchissippi, Ottawa Valley, and they spoke to climate action postcards that were displayed at the County Administration Building as part of Earth Day. She also provided the postcards to each one of the municipalities that she received from members of our municipality and asked that I share them with council. They are attached for your information. So that's members of the council sharing their message to you about climate change. So for your information. Excellent. The next item is the Heart Hub. And there is a significant amount of information available in this media release. What I just wanted to make sure that people could correlate at this level is that MESA, which was the homelessness response that the county had with the paramedics and other community organizations to respond to the homelessness problem, it is now being augmented by the Heart Hub. And the Heart Hub is a homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hub funded by the province, a regional initiative funded by the province. It will work in conjunction with MESA. The two of them are going to come together and provide that support across the county. There is a 3-year support from the province, $6.3 million to do this. And after the 3 years, we'll have to determine where we go from there. We had a presentation at County Council, a PowerPoint that was provided on this. Once I couldn't find it electronically, but as soon as I get it, I'll forward it to Council so you'll have the content of that PowerPoint. It goes into some more detail about the governance of the Heart Hub, how it works in conjunction with the different organizations in the county, and may create other questions that you'd like to pose. Good, I'll keep going. The next one is a collaboration with the MTO and the Ministry of Labor, Immigration Training, Skills Development, Labor Shortages. The CAO received this. Is there any comments you want to make, CAO?
No, only that the MTO, or rather the MTO and the Ministry of Labor, Immigration Training, Skills Development, they're just essentially putting us in touch with some of their contacts with respect to different contractors and the like. So It was distributed to our staff for information purposes, and if there's a need to seek out employees or contractors, we'll try to utilize that resource as well. Thanks.
Good. The next item is the county road intersection safety concerns. So when you have had a chance to review this, this is essentially the intersection in Haley Station, Godfrey and what's the other name of the other road? Sorry? Haley. So Godfrey and Haley, we had made previous attempts. We passed a resolution to ask county to look at it. They looked at it, said no four-way stop. The advocate from the community, Mrs. Taylor Gagnon, who did the delegation to council, subsequently wrote an email and a letter. Those are both referenced in the letter that's enclosed. I think I included them. We went back to county council and said, look, we know you didn't approve this, four-way stop. You gave us suggestions for a number of traffic calming options and the funding sharing that would take place. But can we go back and look at this again, because this is elsewhere in the community where we have a county road that does a 90-degree turn and a municipal road that continues straight, and it needs to be looked at from a policy perspective to see if we can make other suggestions. Unfortunately, I didn't receive the support that I had hoped for at county council, and further re-examination of this intersection is not accepted. I spoke with Mrs. Gagnon about this and advised that we're still working on traffic calming strategies, and Manager Public Works has confirmed that they'll come back to us as part of that transportation master plan, probably late fall, winter. Is that correct, Manager Public Works?
That's ideal, yeah. It was supposed to be done early in the spring, but it's been pushed off with the entire counties and lower tiers to be end of year.
Yeah. So I've advised her, as I've advised many other residents who call me about speeding concerns, is that it's important to continue to report speeding to the OPP. The more calls they receive, the time and the date of the instances will help the OPP to build their patrol schedules. We pay significantly, $1.2 million for our OPP services, and we need to ensure we advocate for their support. I've also spoken with the Renfrew Debt Commander and our lead councillor, Councillor Tabbert, who's on our Police Services Board, and we'll continue to advocate, but there is absolutely no way that a four-way stop is going to happen at this intersection. So that's my report back to council. We've done everything can. From a four-way stop perspective, we still are working traffic calming as an option, and of course enforcement. Good. Next one is the PowerPoint that was provided by Ministry of Transportation, Darren Waters and Ryan Vandenberg. It's included. Is there any way you can pull it up, clerk, on the, yeah. And I'm just going to get you to go to this slide here. Yeah. So that's those bubbles show you or any member of the public all of the provincial works that are planned or ongoing here in the county. We're the middle of the page there with the Foresters Falls Road structural culvert replacement. That's the only work planned this year from a ministry perspective. And then the next map, yes, that shows the planning. It's not next year, it's future. So you will see there'll be upgrades specifically within Whitewater region, the upgrade of the Highway 17 that runs through with basically repaving, including a number of other locations. So that's for your information. And then I'm going to slide you down. There's other updates here. The only one that the community might be aware of, this slide here, is Highway 148. So 148 is the extension of Pembroke's Main Road. It goes out in front of McRae's. Does that place everybody? The Esso in Pembroke, the turnoff into Quebec. That road is going to be redone in the next years. This PowerPoint provides a bunch of the context. LV has been working very closely with the ministry on this. They're talking about temporary lights at Drive-In Road, But there will be 2 years, based on the depth of the works that they have to provide, there will be 2 years of construction on this portion of that road, significantly hampering traffic. So traffic entering Pembroke on 148 will be significantly hampered for 2 years. You can go into the details there. If you have questions, please don't ask me, ask Manager of Public Works. Yeah, sorry, Councillor Tabbert.
Do we know if they ever considered putting in a roundabout there?
I can't answer that question. No, I don't know. The other part that's interesting in here, only because it kind of applied to our sightline discussion that we've had here about Cobden Main Street in the past, you'll see that the Lake Dory intersection, Highway 60, they talk about some of the implications as to why they can't put a light in there, why they're looking to do a very complex reorganization in the next couple of years there at Highway 60. But it gives you a better appreciation of how these warrants work and the considerations they're taking into steering and controlling traffic. Again, if you have questions, it's best to sit down with the Manager of Public Works. He could explain this way before I could. The last one is this slide, if you could. Yeah, Highway 17. So the big question is, when is Highway 17 going to be twinned? What's delaying it? What's the impact going to be? The information that MTO, and he's very careful because he's the bureaucrat, not the politician. They have been advised to continue to do all the planning and get all of the pieces in place, but it is not budgeted at this point in time. So that is something that the MPP has been asked to look into. The project is trundling along, but they're not going to be spending actual physical dollars on constructing it at this point in time. And you'll see in the report this slide, please. Yeah, one up there. So there's currently advancing a bunch of pre-engineering works. You see them all listed there. And if you're really curious, the County Council asked them to break down each one of those, what the timeline was, how long it would take. Go back and watch the video if you're curious. You'll get an appreciation. My understanding is that the works is going to continue to happen, but it actually won't until the province. It won't actually. You won't see asphalt on the ground until the province starts putting money towards it. Okay. Two other things came of this presentation that I wanted to share. One is Petawawa, Laurentian Hills, Deep River were upset because what's the plan from Petawawa to Deep River to support the base, the CNL traffic? If this is taken 50 years to get to this point, it'll be another 100 years before they see anything. So they were very upset and wanted to look at other options. And then when they were finished, I raised the point that Cobden, although we don't, both of these things need to be examined before us, but Cobden is a choke point. And our development, future subdivisions, and how they access or flow in and out of those subdivisions is all orientated on the highway, which may mean another light or these other things. And they cannot allow the fact that Cobden becomes the choke point in Highway 17 to constrain our development. So they've encouraged me, and I think I've mentioned this to the CAO already, they would like us to meet with the corridor manager to talk about this in some more detail, and then I could raise the concern again at County Council. So I wanted to share that with you just so you knew some of the complexities outside of the county. Good. But I'm going to pause there. Is there any questions on anything so far? Okay, good. I'm going to keep charging along because you can call me afterwards. The next one is the Ministry of Seniors and Accessibility's Active Living Centers Program confirmation of funding. Great news, and I'm going to turn this over to the Manager of Community Services.
So this is just an additional year on our self-funding, so we apply every year. It's a 5-year agreement. I believe this is year number 2. So this is a continuation of what we already had from last year, with an increase of $5,000 from last year to this year, so from $50,000 to $55,000.
Perfect, thank you. And I just wanted to say thanks to all the volunteers and the staff, Julie and Lisa, who carry out much of this with our seniors programming, and thanks to the ministry for recognizing our great need. As we continue to work through this, we are seeing that the transfer agreement does not afford us the flexibility to deliver the program in a rural setting here in Whitewater region, and I believe we need to advocate to have this re-examined and changed to better support our community. We're going to continue to work on that, but it's the details about how you can use this money that they give us that I want to press on. Good, thank you. Next one is Community Support and Recreation Infrastructure Fund. Manager of Community Services.
So staff put through an application for this grant funding. It was the beginning of the year this year. And it was based on capital projects that we were planning to do with some additional in case we were successful within the Cobden arena. And it unfortunately means we were declined, and the funding was elsewhere. And we'll keep pressing on. We are shovel ready on a couple little projects in the facilities, and we're getting ready on some other projects as well. So when these funding applications or opportunities come out, we hope to be successful, and unfortunately this time we weren't.
Good, and thank you for the effort of putting the application forward. Good, the last item is the MLS, the residential market activity that's provided to us. And you'll note, if you look at the numbers in there, that the average price of home sales has gone up. Not a great story if you're looking for your first home, but maybe a good story if you're trying to sell yours. But there's some more detail in there. Good, any final questions on anything, any of the information items that we put forward? Good. Next is announcements, and we'll start with the Deputy Mayor.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I do just want to bring one thing forward, and that is we would like to congratulate Lane, who has just graduated from the AMCTO Executive Diploma in Municipal Management. So congratulations, and I know you did very, very well in this. And I just want to, on behalf of council, on behalf of all staff, congratulate you on this great achievement. It was well deserved. I am not sure how long, Lane, does it take for this program? Do you know to pass?
Yeah, it's 2 terms.
2 terms. That's what okay. Well, thank you so much for everything that you've and your achievement, and it's a great job. So well done. Yes, thank you.
Councillor Bell?
Nothing for me.
Councillor Tabbert?
I have 2 announcements. The first is this Saturday from 9 till noon is the Renfrew OPP officers will be at Cobden boat launch for the Kids, Cops, and Canadian Tire Fish Day. Registration begins at 8:30. And just a reminder, the Tour to Whitewater is next Saturday, July 19th in Westmeath. If you aren't registered, you can still do so until Saturday. And there is a lunch provided if you'd like to come by and cheer on those who are participating. And I also encourage you all to take a walk over to Boyer Ladderoute Park, where there is a new shelter placed there by Tour to Whitewater in partnership with the Township of Whitewater region. It's not completed. The shelter is completed. We just have to add some amenities like signs, and I believe there's 1 or 2 picnic tables going in. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I've seen the shelter, and it's very nice. It looks really nice there. Are you going to talk about the multicultural event?
Councillor Moore.
A few things. For those of you who don't know, this weekend is Beachburg Fair. starting on Thursday to Sunday, and council will be flipping burgers on Saturday night, so come on over and visit us. Next week, I myself and Councillor Trim have 2 seniors meetings next week, and then the week after I have Ottawa River Power. And then I am free until, or considered on vacation until our next council meeting. Thank you.
And Councillor Trim? No? I think the only one that wasn't covered that was the Multicultural Festival. So this is the Pembroke Multicultural Festival. It takes place July 18th and 19th in Pembroke. I'm going to be attending the opening ceremonies on the Friday night and welcome anyone to come on out for a day of fun activities if you're really interested.
Where is that Friday night?
It's at the Pembroke Waterfront Park.
Okay, thank you.
I think 5 p.m. Yes. And I have invited the chair of the library board is attending with me. Yeah. So, and I thought the extension of the invitation went to you too, but
It did.
okay, good. Okay.
I have it written down, just not the time.
Okay. Good. Okay. Announcements. Good. Sorry, I have one other thing I remembered, and I'm looking at the community manager, community services. I know we had a bunch of camps planned for the summer. Can you provide any announcement, update on those camps? How they're doing, or?
The camps are running. We unfortunately had to cancel one camp due to low registration. The one in Cobden the first week of August, which was run by the Community Resource Center, didn't get any registrations. So that camp has been canceled. The rest of the camps are running, and I've heard some positive feedback on the ones that have run this week. And as far as I know, everything else is going well. We're reaching out to the next group that we wanted to confirm an additional group with the Renfrew Youth Wellness Hub, and we'll see what their plans are into the summer. But besides that, we've got some good feedback on the camps that we've gotten. I think with the first few running, maybe more will be registering later into the summer, and I believe there are still some spots open. So if there's opportunity, then you're more than welcome to still try to register. I will note, though, I'm not sure, Connie, at the library board, with your upcoming events, the story walk, I think, is planning to come this year. So there's going to be storyboards put up in the Cobden Park as well as in the Beachburg Park. I believe Beachburg is July and Cobden is August. Just.
I know there was talk of it, but I wasn't involved in it, so yeah. I know know they talked about it, so but.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Good. Bylaws. Next item on the agenda, we have 3 bylaws plus our confirmatory bylaw listed here on the agenda. The recommendation is, be it resolved that the bylaws listed on the July 9th, 2025 agenda be taken as read and passed. And I've just made a secretarial change to the recommendation in the agenda. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Trim. Any final comments, questions, or concerns with the bylaws listed at item number 13? Excellent. Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried unanimously. Excellent. And with that, we will adjourn at 1:54 p.m. Thank you, folks. Have a great summer.